Okay, cool. It is working, I think. Yeah, it's working. Okay. 6 seconds. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, your host of the Triple Threat Show, joined today by my two friends and co-hosts,
Shane Brisland
and
Peter.
Peter is here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is our first show of our final semester here on the radio here at WXJM. So it is going to be a bit of a bittersweet season, if you'll call it, of the Triple Threat Show. But we have quite the show for you today. There's lots of stuff going on in the sports world. We have NFL playoff breakdown of the wild card round and a preview of the divisional games that are starting this weekend. We will have the NFL head coaching carousel underway, our picks of where coaches are going, and what we think of the hires that have already been made. Also, we have mid-season check-ins on the NHL, some surprises, some stuff from our hockey expert Shane that he did not expect to happen this season. And last but not least, we'll talk about some JMU stuff, JMU basketball, all the stuff that's been going around on JMU athletics since we have last been on the air, and it has been a bit. So, how have you guys been?
Yeah, as you were saying earlier, last semester of college, very bittersweet, but I'm kind of ready to move on. I feel like I've been here long enough and just looking for jobs and just trying to enjoy every moment of the last semester.
What about you, Peter?
Been a bit of an eventful week. There's no other way to put it other than my neighbor's house burned down like 2 or 3 days ago. So there's just that completely empty lot. Luckily, no people died in the house or pets died in the fire. It was a complete inferno. Not sure what happened. Just very thankful that no one passed from it. But yeah,
That I would say that's very eventful.
the worst part about it for me was when I was trying to drive to Harrisonburg, and I have to pass this house to drive to Harrisonburg unless I wanted to take like a 25-minute drive. And I never look like around while I drive. I just look straight forward. So I didn't realize it until I got to like all the fire trucks blocking the road. I was just like, why is there people stopped on the side of the road here? And I was driving around the cars, and then I got to completely blocked. So I start reversing, and it's only then that I like look, and right when I look, the house was in a complete inferno, and a fire blew out the windows, it's like a 3-story house, and it blew out the windows on the 3rd story, and like glass started flying downwards. I mean, I'll show you guys pictures after the show. It was straight out of a movie. And my dog was in the car, and he started freaking out. And so, while reversing down the road, I have to calm my dog down because he thinks the world is ending.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, it was a very eventful time. And then we had to essentially keep on going outside and checking our house because when there's a fire that big, the ashes can drift in the air and then cause fires on other people's houses. So we had to keep on going out to our house, and looking to make sure there wasn't a fire going on. So, yeah, eventful week.
Okay then.
Very happy that everyone made it out.
Yeah, of course. That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm glad that everyone has been up to stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, we do have a lot to cover in today's show. And why don't we just start with the say, the NFL playoffs here. We've had one of, and I don't know if this is a good way to describe it, because there were some surprises in this wild card weekend, but there was only one good game in the entire wild card weekend. That was the Lions-Rams 23-24. Matthew Stafford returned home. That one was a really fun game to watch. Every other game was a blowout. What does that say about the NFL? I mean, I know there were some upsets and stuff. Particularly the Cowboys, first ever 7 seed to win a playoff game, taking it to the Cowboys. But what does this kind of say about the state of the NFL that only one of these first wildcard games was good?
Well, I would say under some context, because the Browns had Joe Flacco as their quarterback. So take that with like a grain of salt. We knew he was going to regress at some point, and that's what makes you really appreciate the games, is that not every game is going to be a good game. So seeing some bad games makes you appreciate how good the good ones are, because those are so rare. I think it was just a bad week. I don't think it has anything to say about the NFL. If it was consecutive years of really bad first rounds, I think then we would have an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Shane. The thing when it came to Joe Flacco was simply, and I say this to people all the time, when there's suddenly like a decent quarterback with decent skill that gets put in, these guys prepare for a specific quarterback and how they specifically play. And when there isn't a lot of tape on them of recent years, especially for a player like Joe Flacco, I mean, defenses don't really know how to play someone like that, because it's just they haven't seen a lot of tape. Perfect example was this past year was Joshua Dobbs. Dobbs was looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for a few weeks, and then it was a sudden crash and burn because, like, they had enough film that they could now prepare for Joshua Dobbs, and then he looked like what he was, a journeyman. So, I think people got to remember that when it comes to the Browns, that Joe Flacco was never going to lead them to a Super Bowl. But the bigger surprise with me was the Cowboys-Packers game. I mean, the Packers have been on an absolute tear. There's no denying it. But I don't think... I mean, everyone knew that the Cowboys weren't going to make the Super Bowl simply because they're the Cowboys. But I didn't at least expect Dak to perform as badly as he did in that game. I mean, he played horrible.
Yeah. And to your point about Joe Flacco, I mean, that's exactly right. That's why you see every year there's at least one backup quarterback that comes in, and there's the backup obligatory 3 games where everyone's like, is this backup actually good? Yeah. But yes, Joe Flacco, a little bit older. But on the other side of the ball, CJ Stroud. We got to talk about these young guys that came in. CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, coming in their first ever playoff game, and they come and light it up like this. They show like the poise of these veteran quarterbacks back there. That's not something you see in these super big playoff moments all the time nowadays. You think back to Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. They've had some not so great first starts in the playoffs. Even Lamar Jackson. These guys that obviously, I mean, Lamar Jackson's about to win his second MVP. Justin Herbert, undoubtedly one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league right now. But what do you see that's different? It's not. Excuse me. The ability to come in your first playoff game and do what C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love did. It's a special thing that you don't see a lot nowadays. Jordan Love has had an up and down season. He started down. Where is he now after this playoff game in your ranking? Is he top 10 maybe? How far has he climbed? What are you seeing out of these guys that makes them different than other quarterbacks in their first playoff games?
For me, Jordan Love. Jordan Love hasn't climbed much. Just simply, he is playing incredible. There's no denying that whatsoever. But he's way too up and down. Like, there were some weeks during the season where he played horrible. And it was a question of, okay, well, got to find a different guy. And also, while this is his first time starting in this league, let's not pretend that Jordan Love hasn't been in this league for a while. Like, this is, his third year? Fourth year?
Something like that.
Like, he's been in... It's not like this is his rookie year. He's been in this league for a while. He has played with professional talent for a while. The big shock factor and the guy that's like, okay, this is insane, is CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we'll see a rookie year like this again for a long time.
And we haven't seen a rookie year like this since Andrew Luck.
Yeah, it's just, he's unbelievably incredible. And, to take away from the playoffs just for a second, it's just so crazy hearing when it comes to the Panthers because every single personnel says the same story. We wanted CJ Stroud. We wanted CJ Stroud. And their owner said, no, I want Bryce Young. And now the owners claim, no, it was a collective decision. That may go down as one of the worst owner moves in the history of the NFL. Because Bryce Young does not look good.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say he's a bad draft pick yet.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that yet either, but he also isn't a top 10 quarterback already.
No, I agree.
Which CJ Stroud most definitely is.
And on the flip side, if you put CJ Stroud in the Panthers organization this season, I don't think he has quite the season that he has this year.
I think he still plays better than Bryce Young, though.
Undoubtedly, I agree with you. I agree that if they were redrafting the draft right now, CJ Stroud 101, no matter what, that's what's going to happen. But when you look at that Panthers roster, it's hard for me to say, because it could be like a Tua Herbert situation, where obviously if you go back, you'd rather have Herbert, right? But you have Tua and you're fine with him.
Don't ask a Dolphins fan that right now. They're not fine with Tua.
Like, he's a solid quarterback. Like, he's better than half the quarterbacks in the league.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely true.
And I think that's what Bryce Young could turn into. I think I think that's a very fair expectation for him. But it's the same situation where, Justin Herbert went literally one pick later, and the other team was going to take whoever you didn't take.
Yep.
So it's just one of those things. It happens every once in a while, and you just have to deal with it.
It just bothers me when an owner doesn't listen to the people who actually know the sport.
Also, at the same time, everything that's gone wrong for the Panthers, that could have gone wrong for the Panthers this season, it went wrong this season. And everyone kind of hates that owner now.
Because he's such a
David Tepper
person.
has not been a good owner. That's a very big understatement there. That's a very big understatement there. But point, you have to make the right football decision. I know the owner is like the boss, but was he really going to fire you if you really felt so strongly about CJ Stroud being better than Bryce Young, and you took him, and clearly he was. How we've seen this season play out speak for itself. You weren't going to lose your job because you picked the better person. David Tepper might have been angry for a little bit,
He may have thrown a drink on him.
Might have done that, but you're not. But at the end of the day, he's going to be like, I supported them 100%. They made the right draft pick, because you would have made the right draft pick. And at some point, you just need to do that. So as much as I feel for those Panthers staffers and everything that were like, this is the guy we wanted, why didn't you just do it?
Yeah. No, I completely agree on this.
It also would have helped not to trade up for that draft capital either.
Yeah, what were they before? They were the 7th or 8th pick.
Yeah, something like that.
And they at one point were considering drafting Will Levis, who went into the second round.
Will Levis,
he had flashes.
He looks pretty good.
No.
No?
No, he had flashes of talent, but he did not look good. He had one good game,
He had a couple good games.
And I think that, I really think that the prototype of Josh Allen is a really good definition for him. Whether or not he actually, or comparison for him, whether he rises to that, I doubt it. But the Josh Allen prototype is very on point for what he is.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the playoffs, C.J. Stroud lights up one of the best defenses in football. A defense that people were saying was a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yeah.
After that performance, clearly something's up, and the Texans weren't even at full strength with all their weapons. Now the Texans go in, and they are playing another elite defense, a defense that a lot of people are saying is one of the best defenses of all time,
Yep.
which a little bit of an overstatement, I think, but it's still a very good defense. Like,
easily the best one in the league.
Yeah, in the Ravens, very, very good defense. I am not ready to put them at an all-time level at all, nowhere close even, quite honestly, but very good defense.
Not with those Ed Reed and Ray Lewis Ravens defense.
Dude, I heard conversations that were like, is this the best Ravens defense ever? And they were doing comparisons with the 2000 Ravens. No. Like, they were dead serious about this. It's insane. Recency bias is crazy.
It's crazy.
But yeah.
I'm gonna say that Clowney was worth the number one overall pick when this is the first time he's done well.
And sorry, all that is not to say that it's a bad defense. It just is not close to being an all-time defense.
When you have two of the greatest defensive players of all time, with two of the greatest defensive minds on the same team, and it's not close. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's actually my favorite matchup of the week. I know we have Bills Kansas City rematch for like the 80th time again in the playoffs.
Oh, there's so much controversy about that. That's the funniest part.
And we'll get to that. But I want to talk about this Ravens Texans game because, like I said, this is the one that intrigues me the most. I think if there's any team in the entire playoffs that'll give the Ravens the run for their money, I think it's the Texans. I'd agree. I think if the Ravens beat the Texans this week, they win the Super Bowl. Because, you look around the bracket, who's the best team left just conventionally? It's the 49ers, right?
Yeah.
We saw what they did to that 49ers team. Now, I know it's going to be a different beast in a rematch, and in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl it would be, if they meet again. But they dismantled them. Like, it wasn't one of those things where they got a few lucky bounces, and they beat them by 30 in garbage time. It was over before halftime, And as much as the 49ers coaching staff is incredible and can prepare for the Ravens again if they get there in the playoffs, I don't see a gap that big, really. They can probably make it a game, but I don't think they can really win, just analyzing it from back then. The Texans are a team that it's tough to prepare for because, as we talked about, you have a guy like C.J. Stroud who, like with that backup stuff, you have a season of film on him. You have one game of playoff film on him, and the same thing with this head coach. First-year head coach. This is all kind of new stuff.
Yeah.
What they're doing down in Houston, I think this will give the Ravens the best shot. I'm just curious what you guys' thoughts on this game are.
Let's just quickly say, DeMeco Ryan, I said it on the show last year, and I said on the show, this guy is going to be a stud for a head coach. Like, this guy is going to be incredible. I don't think people realize how good this guy is. Just remember where their draft picks were and where they are right now. I don't think they can do this with another coach, unless that coach is Kyle Shanahan or, really, that's it. So, but no, I think the Ravens are going to win them. I think that I love how C.J. Stroud plays. I think that he's incredible. He's easily top 10. But that Ravens team is way too good. Lamar is going to win his second MVP. The biggest issue for me, and what I think can be like the biggest difference maker, Mark Andrews isn't playing.
He got cleared. He's off the IR now. I thought he was playing.
I thought I saw a report last night that said Mark Andrews is not expected to play Sunday.
It's alright, they got Devin Duvernay back.
Yeah, for 5 plays. But yeah, just there's not anyone to really throw to. I mean, Zay Flowers, yeah, but Odell Beckham has been bad this year, other than the occasional Hail Mary throw. Rashad Bateman's Rashad Bateman, and Isaiah Likely is not a very good tight end. So
I mean, he did decently well in Andrews' absence.
Yeah, but he can't replace Andrews.
Yeah, there's no replacing
So-
him. He's done all right. in his
You're not
absence.
going to replace the production Mark Andrews has with one guy.
But that's my point, is they don't have the guys to replace him.
But they do. You look at what they've done this season. Mark Andrews has been out since, what, week 4?
He's been out for like half the season.
He's
yeah,
been
at
out for a
least.
really long time.
Mark Andrews was, I think he was injured week 7 or 8.
half the season.
Yeah,
He's been out for a very long time. Long enough for Lamar to cement his MVP case without Mark Andrews. That's one of the reasons why you don't think he's going to win.
I think he's going to win it. Do I think he deserves it? No.
Are you serious?
Not even close. Christian McCaffrey deserves the MVP. And the only reason why he will not win it is because he's a running back.
And I think you're dead wrong this year. You can look at the pure stats. Is that what you're looking at to say this? The pure stats?
No, I'm not looking at the pure stats. I'm looking at what a running back has done in this league and what has never been done before. What Lamar Jackson has been done before. It's been done by him. So why is
That's
he...
an unfair standard. He won
it's
unanimous MVP that season.
It's an unfair standard to always have a quarterback win the MVP.
He
every
deserves to
single
win
year.
the MVP this
He
year.
doesn't.
He absolutely
He
does.
doesn't. If let's just say, put in what Christian McCaffrey has done this season. Put it in quarterback terms, as in like switch it, like what a quarterback would put for that elite of a season. Christian McCaffrey wins the MVP with the numbers that Lamar Jackson put out. Like, if you take the numbers of what he had and then translate that to what a quarterback would do, that would be the equivalent of an incredible season. That equivalent, then Christian McCaffrey's season is better than Lamar.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Who wins Offensive Rookie of the Year this year?
CJ Stroud.
What about Puka Nacua?
Puka has
He's done something that no one has ever done in the history. He set NFL rookie leaders for catches, for yards.
Yeah, and they benefited greatly from Cooper Kupp being injured. If he would not have been able to do that with Cooper Kupp playing. And you know it's true. He wouldn't have even made the 1,000 mark.
That's a ridiculous argument coming off the one you just made.
It's a perfect argument.
It's the same situation.
It's
Puka
not.
Nacua has done stuff that no one has ever done. Put it in quarterback terms. Put it in the season for quarterback
I
terms.
think CJ Stroud's season's better. I genuinely do. Look at the weapons that CJ Stroud has. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nico Collins is incredible, and Tank Dell's all right. But
I love Tank Dell. Sorry, go ahead.
I love Tank Dell too, but let's be honest, Nico Collins is better.
I agree. But
And CJ Stroud has done more with less. Look at the running back situation that CJ Stroud has to deal with every single game. Now put that into perspective of what Puka Nacua had. Puka Nacua had Matthew Stafford throwing to him, and he had Kyron Williams, who essentially made them flood the box every single time. So, of course, he had more assets to work with. CJ Stroud's season, we will probably never see again from a rookie. I mean, just remember, at one point during this year, CJ Stroud was in the MVP talk.
there were people putting him there.
And he deserved to be there for a short period of time.
I don't think he ever should have been in MVP talks.
Okay.
But there were people putting him there, no doubt. I know there were.
Well, this was kind of like a down year for quarterbacks, I feel.
Yeah, and honestly, before the Ravens went on their stretch of killing the top dogs in the entire league, like one after another, I was 100% on board with McCaffrey being the MVP. And then I saw what Lamar did down the stretch of that season, and my mind was changed. And all of this was without Mark Andrews. You get the production of a Mark Andrews from the combined of Isaiah Likely and Odell Beckham Jr. and Rashad Bateman.
I'm actually curious when to Mark Andrews.
Jeremy, I know this is going to frustrate you, but I agree with Peter here. I think Christian McCaffrey should be the MVP over Lamar Jackson.
Why's that?
Just because Christian McCaffrey carries that 49ers offense. That offense doesn't run as well if he's not in there. Like, I know Lamar Jackson is an important part of the Ravens offense, obviously, because he's the quarterback, he's the run game, but Christian McCaffrey takes that 49ers offense to a whole new level, and we've seen Lamar Jackson have better years. We've seen the Ravens be better than this, but what Christian McCaffrey's done, we've seen nothing like it before.
Yeah, and to top it off, I just want to say this because I'm petty. Mark Andrews only missed 6 games this year. He missed 6. He was there for 11. That is literally 1/3 of the season that he missed. 2/3 of the season he was there.
All right.
Still pretty significant.
No, it's significant, but let's just put into perspective Christian McCaffrey's stats this year. So,
because I was looking at Lamar's numbers, and they were kind of like, for Lamar's standards, for what we've seen him do before, it's kind of underwhelming.
Off of 272 attempts rushing, Christian McCaffrey has 1,459 yards, 14 touchdowns. Receiving wise, he has 67 receptions for 564 yards and 7 touchdowns. So in total, he has 21 touchdowns this season. He also tied the record for most touchdowns straight of all time. Like, there's Lamar Jackson, in perspective, in total, for touchdowns, has 24 touchdowns, or 29 touchdowns with 7 interceptions. Like, let's be honest. Christian McCaffrey had a better season. And he's going to not win the MVP because Lamar's a quarterback. I can't believe I'm saying Lamar's a quarterback, but it's true.
There's a lot of things that you got.
We're past the point of Lamar's a quarterback.
Yeah, because, well, I'm
he's proven it.
2019, Lamar had 1,206 yards rushing.
Yeah.
2019, Lamar won insane. Unanimous MVP.
Well, yeah, and he absolutely deserved it. I mean, if you look at when he won MVP, I mean, there's one season that I'm looking at right now, 2020. His numbers aren't that different than this season, and he didn't win MVP.
For the standard for quarterback to win MVP, it's been so much higher in recent years. I just feel like no quarterback really went above and beyond to prove they were MVP.
Christian McCaffrey's
and that's completely fair. I agree with that. I just think in a world where Lamar Jackson does not exist, you take what the best team in football is in the Ravens right now. You take Lamar off that team and you replace him with even a good quarterback. You know, say you replace him with, I don't want to say like an elite quarterback, somewhere in like.
I think if you I'll actually help you out here. I think if you put Josh Allen on that team, he does not do the Ravens don't do nearly as well. And Josh Allen is a top 4 quarterback in the league. I completely agree with you with that.
It's just one of those things he does. Like, I understand you look at the stats, and McCaffrey has had a freak of a season. He is a freak of a player.
It will never happen again. And he's not going
to win. And you're probably right about that. But it's just Lamar is such an insane player. We've never seen someone like Lamar Jackson ever in the history of the NFL.
Vick.
No.
Yeah, perfect example. Let's be honest. If Michael Vick didn't get into trouble, Michael Vick would have been Lamar Jackson.
But he wouldn't have. Lamar Jackson does what Michael Vick did, and he's made it something else.
Michael Vick walked so Lamar Jackson could run.
Yeah.
So.
Kind of.
Yes, they weren't looking at quarterbacks like that until Michael Vick came along. It's just true. I mean, remember, Lamar got drafted 32nd.
Yeah.
Even then, they still didn't want to. You think he would have been drafted any higher if Michael Vick hadn't come along first?
No, I agree. I think you're absolutely right. But what Lamar Jackson has done is he's made that archetype into, like, we just kind of did a little bit of this. Back in 2019, everyone was calling him a running back. That is an outlandish thing to do nowadays. You know, people get called like racist for doing that now.
I don't know why. That's a little absurd to say.
But he's really transformed that archetype of player. Like he's such a special player to watch.
And I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that Christian McCaffrey deserves it more.
And that's fair.
We have gone so sidetracked.
That's fine. Yeah, we totally have. Let's get back to the playoffs. That was Ravens Texans. We never even got to predictions. What do you guys think is going to happen? I know you said Ravens were going to win.
Ravens is going to end the Cinderella run.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah, I agree. The Ravens will take
Clock
this
strikes
one.
midnight.
But, I think this will be a really good game either way.
I agree.
On the same side of the coin, or the flip side of the coin, I think the 49ers are going to destroy the Packers.
Oh, yeah. That's
Congratulations, Green Bay. You made it this far, but as Aaron Rodgers has done so many times before, you live the legacy of getting your butt kicked by the 49ers.
Yep. It's literal.
Welcome to the Packers experience, Jordan Love.
If you do matchup per matchup in this, 49ers are better in every single thing. Every single thing. Quarterback, better. Running back, better. Offensive line, better.
49ers have home field advantage.
Better. 49ers have home field better. Defense, better. There's literally nothing that the Packers do better.
I think you could make an argument for Jordan Love over Brock Purdy, but that's like semantics.
Brock Purdy was going to win MVP.
Brock Purdy was never going to win MVP.
He was going to win MVP until he had that really bad game. I'm telling you, they were going to give it to him, and I was going to be upset.
Straight up, no. Brock Purdy should never have been in the MVP conversation. Brock Purdy should never have had his name anywhere near the top 3.
I'm not
Brock
denying
Purdy
that.
should never be an MVP candidate.
I will say, Brock Purdy, the Vikings did not have a great season. Brock Purdy single-handedly lost the 49ers game against the Vikings.
It was so funny.
As a Vikings fan, I loved it because I'm like, oh my god, he threw another bad interception. Oh my god, the Vikings are going to beat the 49ers.
It was so funny.
After that game, I'm like, all right, he got beat by the Vikings defense. He can't win MVP. And he has so many weapons.
Yeah, I know, but the voters for the MVP are some of the dumbest people.
They just want another Tom Brady.
Yeah, and they wanted it through Patrick Mahomes, and now that's not working out for them. So now it's Caleb Williams. But that's a topic for another day. But yeah, 49. I don't think that there's any dispute here. 49ers are going to crush the Packers.
Yeah. And then Buccaneers, Lions. This is another interesting matchup. Now,
I like the narratives.
I give it. As a Lions fan, genuinely, I think we win, but it's not going to be a blowout that people say it is.
I agree. The Lions are one of those teams that, when they want to, they can be the best team in football.
Yeah.
But they just don't have that fire under them every single game.
They have that fire under them. The fire is always there. It's just who's at the helm. Is it Goff or is it Goof? There's no other way of putting it. Is it the Goff that helped the Rams get to the Super Bowl, or is it the guy who throws 3 interceptions or 3 fumbles in a game?
Yeah. So I do think the Lions are just a better team that will pull this one off. But Baker Mayfield is a guy, he just wins.
Baker has something in him. I just don't understand it.
He doesn't quit. He's got what I like to call the Taylor Heineke factor.
Except he's good.
He just wins. And it's just one of those things. He's got that winning. He's got like a winning aura or something like that.
Well, he just refuses to give up.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just look at it before. He had an incredible time with the Browns. Then he had a bad year. Then he took them to the playoffs. Then he had a bad year. Then he went to the Panthers, had a horrible year, was transferred essentially to the Rams. Horrible.
He was pretty solid for the Rams.
He had one.
But they were already eliminated at that point, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. And then he comes to the Buccaneers. Everyone's like, all right, well, this is a down year while they wait for a quarterback this year. Playoffs, beats the Eagles, stops the tush-push. Well, I mean, his defense.
All Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. All Baker Mayfield. The Tom Brady
his
effect.
Energy brother. Yeah.
It's the Tom Brady effect. But
I just feel like the Bucs have a higher floor than the Lions, because when the Lions are bad, they are bad. Like, as we said, Jared Goof. When he's goofing, it's not great.
When he's goofing,
Yeah.
horrible. I mean, when he's goofing, I've watched every single Lions game this year, every single one. Even like during times when I'm supposed to be spending time with family, like Thanksgiving, I told them, leave me alone, and I went and watched the Lions game.
That's what Thanksgiving's for.
Watch the Lions game. That's what
Thanksgiving's for.
Yeah. I've watched every single game, and there have been times where I genuinely have had to turn off the TV because I have to say, I'm screaming at the TV. You are 29 years old, and you are still making the same horrible read that a rookie quarterback makes. Like, you can't throw into triple coverage just because Amon-Ra St. Brown's somewhere down there. So, it's just, if Goof plays like Goof, I would not be shocked if the Bucs won. So, but yeah.
And the Bucs have a good run defense. They really shut down the Eagles' run offense that game.
Yeah.
You still have Mike Evans. You still have Godwin.
Yeah.
That Bucs team looks
good.
I don't know. This is going to be close. I hope this is a good game.
I hope it's a good game, too.
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning towards the Bucs because I just have a feeling that the Lions find a way to screw this up.
I kind of have that feeling too, but I just don't think the Bucs are that guy.
I have no. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to say the Lions, but there's two guys on that team that they can't stop, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery. If one of them is stopped, the other one will always do well. And so, best running backs in football. So, as in like best running back team in football. I shouldn't have said best running backs. That's Christian McCaffrey. Anyway.
All right. And then final game, headliner game this weekend.
Unfortunately.
Bills Chiefs rematch for the first time in Buffalo.
Yeah, the NFL is trying to cheat it for the Chiefs.
What do you mean by that?
Ready for this?
Yep.
This is what I was on my phone for because I was trying to find the statistic, and it took it away from me. Oh my God!
Welcome to conspiracy theories with Peter Kegwin.
Yep. Okay. Well, so no, this is actually just plain old statistics.
Okay.
So the not the coaching staff. Oh my God. Reffing staff for the game is Sean Pachuli or whatever. He's the head ref. His ref group, when he has ref for Chiefs games, they are 8-2,
mm-hmm.
And 2-0 in the playoffs when it's happened. When he has ref for the Bills, there's been 40 penalties for 347 yards. He has only reffed them 4 times. That's insane. If that is not the NFL being like, Patrick Mahomes, right, guys? Taylor Swift? Come on. Our viewership's been great this year.
I don't know. I mean, I get refs kind of do that sometimes, but, like, the Chiefs have just been good. You know, if you ref 10 Chiefs games,
I would say
chances are they're probably going to win 8 of them. You know, just because they're good.
Yeah, hopefully Kadarius Toney goes off sides again.
Yeah, it's just how much can the Chiefs defense can shut down Josh Allen, because the inconsistency with the Chiefs offense this year is kind of...
They have no wide receivers.
Yeah.
They have none. I mean, I know everyone's like, Rashid Rice, oh my God. Rashid Rice. Let's be honest here. Rashid Rice is... I mean, he's better than Quentin Johnson. But
he's the only receiver that has consistently caught the ball this year.
Yeah. And even then, he still hasn't. I mean, all they do is double Travis Kelce every single time. Sky Moore has been injured and plays horrible. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, horrible. And Kadarius Toney just doesn't want to play. So then that leaves Rashid Rice, who wants to play. It's not very good. So, I mean, if you take any of the rookie wide receivers other than Quentin Johnson this year, you put them on the Chiefs, they're going to be great.
I just feel like this is if any year, this is the Bills' year. Because it just doesn't seem like anything for the Chiefs has gone right. They just kind of they stumble their way into this position. And the Bills, they're peaking at the right time as a lot of people, the cliche sports term, they've just been on a hot streak, and they just seem like they're the team of destiny right now.
I just hope that Josh Allen if they do win, has his earplugs ready so that way he can stick them in right before the game. I mean, right before the handshake, so Patrick Mahomes can't whine to him about it being a bogus call again. I don't like Patrick Mahomes.
Really?
I'm not sure if you guys.
I wasn't quite picking up on that.
Jeremy, what's your take?
My take, you guys said
I
it.
think Bills at home is also a huge factor.
Oh yeah, especially since they are currently actively. If you guys want to drive to Buffalo, they're currently looking for snow people.
Yeah, like Bills on the streak at home against their rival at this point. It just seems like this is their time.
Yeah, you kind of broke it down. This is a lot like Cowboys 49ers in the 90s.
Yep.
This matchup, at least. And for a while, 49ers were winning it every time, you know?
Yep.
It changed.
It did.
And I'm not going to say it's... I think the Bills are going to win this, and I don't think it's going to... And I think that can set the tone for this rivalry. But it also could just not, you know? I think the reasons the Bills... You guys covered it. It's a down year for the Chiefs. That defense, not given enough credit for the Chiefs. That defense is a top 10 defense in the league. Very, very good defense. But the Bills are on what? A 7-game win streak now?
Something like that.
They were in a situation where, like the Packers back in, like, what was it, 2015?
I mean, they almost missed the playoffs week 18. If
They
the
had
perfect scenario happened,
They had to run the table,
Yep.
basically. And they did. They ran the table. And when a team is that hot and clicking on all cylinders, especially against a team like the Chiefs that has just kind of limped their way in
Yep.
off the backs of elite talent like Patrick Mahomes. If this was an Arrowhead, I think I'd give it to. I think that game is this close. That home field advantage is really going to be the difference.
I think it's going to be also a really low-scoring game because it's just the defenses are like the stars of the show here. Those are the X factors, just because the offenses have been so inconsistent this year.
So I'm very excited for this game. I think the Bills will take this one. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think we've agreed on all of them except the Bucks-Lions games because I am the only one who has the Bucks.
Yeah, I think that's probably, for the most part, the consensus around the league is what we said. You know.
Yeah.
So.
But no, I think this should be a good week of football. I think most of these games are probably going to be really good. So I'm excited for that. But moving on, we're going to do NFL head coaching now.
Oh, God.
Coaching carousel every season. It's fun. We love the coaching carousel. This season there were 7 open head coaching slots. That being with the Chargers, the Raiders, Seahawks, Panthers, Titans, Commanders, and Falcons. Also the Patriots. 8, excuse me. Patriots and now the Raiders recently. Their vacancies have been filled. Patriots got Gerard Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
There was a head coaching clause in his contract, so it wasn't really ever a head coaching search. It was just waiting for it to be announced. And then I believe it was yesterday, the Raiders hired interim coach
After players threatened to leave.
Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce, former Giants linebacker. We love Antonio Pierce. Super Bowl champion Antonio Pierce.
No, Antonio Pierce is a good coach. No denial.
But yeah, so that was a very interesting situation. Do you want to break that down for us a little bit, Peter?
Yeah, I mean, the Gerard Mayo, like you said, everyone knew that was going to happen. There was a head coaching clause in his contract, but on top of that, if you actually go back a couple of years, Robert Kraft literally said that he was going to be the head coach. A few years ago, just during an owners meeting after he left, they said Gerard Mayo is going to be a head coach. There's no denying it. So there was that. Antonio Pierce, incredible head coach. He is. I there's a statement by Max Crosby about Antonio Pierce that I completely agree with. There's only 32 NFL head coaches in the entire world, and you need to find one that can actually inspire their guys. If you have one already in the building, why would you look anywhere else? So, and I completely agree with that. There is probably only a few other coaches in all of football that can inspire a team like Antonio Pierce has. I mean, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, and Max Crosby all said that if Antonio Pierce is not there next year, they are not sure they want to be a Raider. So I just great selection, and I think that a lot of teams were really hoping they could steal him because I know that the Falcons interviewed him to take their position. So, and I think the Chargers did as well. So, the first two, I'm happy to see. I really like Gerard Mayo, but we haven't seen a patriotless football team in decades. So,
yeah. And on that note, Bill Belichick, he's getting a job at one of these 6 remaining places. Where's he going? Now, reports before we go into this is he's all but a Falcon head coach, which, in my opinion, is maybe the worst spot for him to go, straight up. I'm not a fan.
I just feel like they're a quarterback away from being a playoff team.
So, yeah.
I feel like you can say that about a lot of teams, though.
So, here's a few things. It's pretty much a guarantee at this point for Bill Belichick to be a Falcon. I think it's just waiting for the announcement at this point. Bill Belichick had a second interview with them the other day. Bill Belichick's own personnel have already inquired about different coordinators for the Falcons under Bill Belichick. So put 2 and 2 together. And Bill Belichick said that he wanted to go to a team that had extremely good talent but was underperforming. And there's really only 2 teams in football like that right now. And
the place that he should go, the Chargers.
Which is where he should have gone, and that's what I've been saying this entire year was he's going to be a Charger.
But you guys forget the Chargers can't have anything nice.
Yeah.
But they should.
And
but
then
it's the Chargers.
It'd be so good for him
Nothing
to go there.
good can ever happen to the Chargers.
I think the Chargers would win a Super Bowl immediately if he went there.
I wouldn't.
But it's still the Chargers.
I think that is a Super Bowl roster that has been abhorrently. I couldn't think of a word. That's the wrong one. That has been so vastly underused, incorrectly used. It's awful to see how much talent is being wasted there, especially on the defensive end. I mean, obviously Justin Herbert, but that offense is doing its thing, Yeah.
No, I mean, there are only 2 teams in football, and that was the Falcons and the Chargers. I mean, the Falcons have possibly one of the greatest offensive weapons on their team in all of football, and they can't go above 500. But it's almost a guarantee that Bill Belichick is, and you'll probably see Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, probably. And yes, that's probably where he's going. I don't know, Shane, if you had a different thought of where he would go, but he should have gone to the Chargers.
I don't hate it. I think it's a good... I feel like any team with Bill Belichick is going to get better on it, but you got a lot of weapons. Like, I want to see Kyle Pitts finally get used in that offense, be what he was drafted to be.
Please, Kyle Pitts. I've had you so many years in a row in fantasy.
Just watch, guys. This is the year.
This is the year, guys. This is the year.
And then you got Bijan, and then hopefully he does well.
Drake London.
Yeah. It's just... If they find a guy at quarterback, that's a dangerous team.
This is a huge if.
Yeah.
I
feel like Desmond Ritter was so bad.
You guys clearly didn't hear the news. Kirk Cousins, if Bill Belichick signs with the Falcons, will be a Falcon.
Blow it up. Blow it up. God dang it, Vikings.
And Kirk Cousins still looked pretty great. So I'm just saying, why go for Justin Fields when you could have Kirk Cousins and use that 8th pick on an offensive lineman? Just saying.
God, I don't want Kirk to leave Minnesota.
Chargers, I will almost guarantee you that there are only 2 head coaches that are on their mind, and one is Jim Harbaugh, and the second is Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
One of those will be the head coach next year.
I don't know if Ben
He's already interviewed.
I don't know if Ben Johnson will get a job. I don't know.
Ben Johnson is easily going to be a head coach next year, unless he doesn't want to be. He was going to be the Panthers head coach this year, and he turned them down. So,
and that's where I think he'll go if he gets a job. I think the Panthers are going to want to hire him again.
Well, he's already interviewed with them again.
I think the Panthers are going to offer him, and he's either going to say no and go back, or he's going to be the head coach over there.
Yep.
But other big free agent coaches, Jim Harbaugh, you kind of touched on him a little bit. Where do we think he's going?
Chargers.
Everyone's saying the Chargers. Like, there's the whole, he played for the Chargers, he's going to go back to his former team, blah, 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 blah. So it just kind of feels like the destined choice.
Let me ask this. If he hadn't just won a title at Michigan, do you think he still goes?
No.
Yep, I do.
Really?
Well, it depends. Are we including, like, the whole controversies and all that?
Because of the controversy.
Yeah. I feel like if you include the controversy, I feel like he tries to get an NFL head coaching job again.
Yeah. I mean, he's also been flirting with the idea for years. I mean, Michigan literally had to put in his most recent contract that they're trying to get him to sign that you can't talk to NFL teams. I mean, he wants to be an NFL coach, but on top of that, the controversy. I mean, you want to be away from that, because I still would not be shocked if more stuff doesn't come to light. So, you want to be away from that when that happens. So, I mean, clearly Jim Harbaugh also feels the exact way, because in his most recent counter to Michigan, he said that he could not be suspended for any reason by the Michigan team. For anything, he could not be suspended. And clearly they are not going to sign that. So he clearly thinks there's something else as well. So I would bet a large amount of money that he is going to an NFL team.
Yeah. Before we continue with this, we have reached the top of the hour here on WXJM 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, host of this Triple Threat Show, joined, as always, by my 2 friends and co-hosts,
Shane Brisland
and
Peter. Someone's got to do it. If Caleb's not here, I will say my full name if Caleb is sitting next to me. If Caleb is not sitting next to me, I'm saying my first name.
All right. Mike Vrabel. We were talking about big head coaching fish still on the market. Mike Vrabel is a big name out there. Just left the Tennessee Titans.
Such a stupid decision.
Where does he end up? I think there's a team out here that's perfect for him.
You do?
I do.
I want to hear yours.
It's the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Good choice.
I completely forgot Pete Carroll got fired. It just doesn't feel real.
Yeah, it's like Bill Belichick not being with the Patriots.
It feels even more weird than that, because it just came out of nowhere. Like, everyone knew that Bill Belichick and Patriots didn't like each other anymore. But Pete Carroll, I mean, I was just sitting, and then I think Jeremy texted me, Pete Carroll's gone. And I was like, what? What do you mean he's gone? Did he die? Like, that seemed more of a possibility in my mind than him not being the Seahawks head coach.
But he's also been there like forever, hasn't he?
Yes. Ever since he wasn't the head coach of the Patriots, because he was the Patriots head coach for a little bit before Bill Belichick, I think.
Yeah, but I feel like that would be a good matchup.
He was at USC.
Yeah, and then I thought he was the Patriots head coach for a year or two, and then he got fired for Bill Belichick.
Maybe. I don't remember.
But I like what he did with the Titans. I feel like they've had some underwhelming rosters, and then he brought them to the playoffs, and now he has a chance in Seattle where he gets the chance to like bring this roster back to a playoff team.
Yeah.
But I just feel like Seattle is just kind of mid right now.
Mm-hmm.
Geno Smith is a mediocre quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be enough to like take you above the edge to be a consistent playoff team. But they do have a lot of weapons, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do with them.
Pete Carroll was a Patriots head coach, and then he went to USC, and then he returned to the NFL to the Seahawks.
Mm.
Got the order mixed up a bit.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Where do you think Pete Carroll goes?
Pete Carroll?
Not Pete Carroll.
Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel.
Who else needs a head coach?
The Titans.
Panthers, Commanders, Titans,
Commanders.
and then Seahawks.
Commanders.
Oh, the Commanders is going to be rough.
I think Commanders. So with that second overall pick, that's gonna bring up.
I don't think that Commander's job is that bad.
I don't think so either, especially with that second pick, and you're going to get your guy for a quarterback. I mean, no matter what, whoever gets drafted first, Caleb Williams. Drake May is still there, so.
There's also the Patriots.
Well, Patriots have Jerome May.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He could be the defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick's Falcons.
He's taking a head coach gig.
Yeah.
But no, speaking of the rest of it, especially Washington's, I think the Panthers, they're going to get bottom of the barrel, mainly because of their owner. But also it's not a great situation. And then the Titans, they're just not that attractive of a job.
They just don't have assets. I mean, Derrick Henry's leaving. He's going to be a Cowboy. And they have an up-and-coming quarterback, but they have no wide receivers. They don't have a tight end. And sure, they have, I think, and they'll probably draft with that either Roman Audazun or Brock Bowers, but it's not going to be enough to turn it around. I wouldn't want to be a head coach for that franchise.
So really, out of the head coaching spots that we as a triple threat show have not filled, the Commanders are the last real big fish. I don't think we really need to go too in depth on the Titans or the Panthers.
Unless the Eagles get fired. I mean, next year.
That would have happened already, I think.
They had the meeting yesterday, but I agree.
Who takes that job in Washington? They've just hired a new GM from the 49ers organization.
And a basketball person to be their advisor.
Yeah, he said that the situation reminded him of the 49ers in 2017, which is a good spot to be.
That is fun. It's so funny. They hired a basketball guy as an advisor. What a great idea, Joe Harris.
But yeah, who fills that role in Washington? I think
Mike Vrabel.
I think it's probably going to be Eric Bieniemy. That's the whole reason he left the Chiefs.
So you think they're going to hire internally?
Yeah. And if not, I think it might be Ben Johnson.
If Ben Johnson becomes the head coach of the Commanders, I will go back to being a Commanders fan. I'll still be a Lions fan, but I'll be a Commanders fan again like I was when I was like 5.
Yeah. Anything else we missed in the head coaching searches? Or anything in the NFL?
I think a very important thing to say just quickly about the Commanders is that there's no longer, like, whoever the head coach is, we can almost assuredly say Sam Howell will not be the quarterback next year.
Yeah.
Because new GM, new head coach, they're going to want their guy. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that really fast? And then clearly hockey. But, do you think that the Commanders should push their chips in, throw everything in to try and get that first pick, bring Caleb Williams home, or do you think they should just settle for Drake May?
This is a quarterback class that's you'd be happy with a guy at number 2. And what the Bears are going to ask for that one pick, because they have such a dilemma with Justin Fields.
Well, also they are about to hire Kingsbury, the USC quarterback coach, as their offensive coordinator.
Who, the Commanders or the Bears?
No, the Bears. I think they don't want. I mean, that's writing on the wall.
It's a tough situation because it's just going to take a lot. You'd have to give up the 2. It'd be a pick swap, probably a future first, and maybe another player, just like the Panthers last year.
I'm wondering if their first, the second overall pick, a second either this year or next year, and Terry McLaurin would do it. That would give 2 huge wide receivers for Justin Fields. And then, I mean, Justin Fields was looking really good at the end of the year. So, I don't know.
I don't know if they would give up Terry McLaurin, because we saw how well that turned out for the Panthers when you don't have a weapon to throw to.
I don't know. It's Caleb. I'm not the biggest fan of Caleb Williams, but when you're being offered up the next Patrick Mahomes, as what people like to say, people do some silly stuff.
There's been bigger QB prospects that have floundered. So it's just, I don't know what to think about. It's so random to me to determine whether or not they're going to do well at the NFL level. And I know it's like the safe choice, but it's also the, high risk, high reward kind of move to get that new prospect.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to be the best quarterback in this draft. Honestly, I would not be shocked, and Jeremy's going to not be happy in what I'm about to say, which is why I'm going to say it. I would not be shocked if J.J. McCarthy is the best quarterback in this draft.
Huh? That is... No.
He's a winner.
I mean, so was Mac
Did you
Jones.
think that Stetson Bennett was going to be the best quarterback in last year's class?
Well, that
Did you
is
think
completely
that
different.
Mac Jones
Stetson Bennett
was
is
the
30
best
years old.
Did you think that Mac Jones was the best quarterback in his class?
I don't know what's Mac Jones' quarterback class. I don't know.
Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence.
Wow, looking back on it, that was supposed to be such a good quarterback class, and it has just not lived up to anything.
Trey Lance was in his
Oh
class.
my god, that was such a bad quarterback class. That was so bad. Wait, that means that Zach Wilson was also in that.
It wasn't Trevor Lawrence. It was Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
I think they were all in that class.
Yeah. It was Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson.
Everyone thought that was going to be the greatest class of all time. That one is horrible.
This is why I'm so hesitant to draft a new quarterback, because it's just like it could be like that year.
Jeremy, I know.
I'll just say this:
he's the youngest quarterback in this thing.
Because I don't have the words to describe how wrong you are.
I can't wait.
J.J. McCarthy is not in the top. Is not in the top. How far do I want to go?
Jeremy, he's in the top 4. You cannot say he's.
J.J. McCarthy is not in the top 15 quarterbacks in this class.
Bruh.
Jeez.
Bruh. That is so not true.
I feel more confident saying top 10, but if you're saying top 4, I will go hyperbole too.
Okay, listen. Ready? Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
This is from prospects. I'm still saying I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring and say J.J. McCarthy will be the best quarterback in this draft.
Okay, fine.
Just because if I'm wrong,
you
already
are.
No, if I'm wrong, which I probably will be, right? No one's surprised. If I'm correct, I look like a genius. But So Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy,
What about Michael Penix?
the 50-year-old man.
What about him?
I think he's actually going to turn 25 before he's drafted. And then there's Bo Nix, who
Better.
no,
Yes.
no,
Yep. Straight up better.
no.
Yep.
We're not going to agree on this, and I want Shane to be able to talk about hockey.
I cannot believe you just said that on radio.
When we do our
We'll find out
fantasy draft
next year.
I will be drafting JJ McCarthy.
Please do.
You traded up for my second.
No, not with those picks. Not with those picks. Absolutely not with those picks. No. Done said. But
I was gonna say, if you're really that confident.
no.
I'll just force him to you with the first pick if you really wanted that bad.
No. I will be drafting Neighbors and whichever person, and either Audazun or Marvin Harrison Jr. or Caleb Williams.
All right.
So,
but yeah, let's move on to hockey because we have a little bit of a midseason wrap up, and I know we cut your time a little short, Shane. My fault. I didn't think it would go for this long, but yeah, let's move on to some hockey. There's been a lot of stuff going on.
All right, so we're only gonna focus on the 3 biggest surprises this year. First off, we'll start off with the Winnipeg Jets. The offseason, it seemed like 2 of their best players are going to leave the team, like Mark Scheifele, who's their first-line center, and Connor Hellebuck, who is a Vezina winning goaltender. And they both signed 7-year extensions, so they were committing to the team, which was shocking because it seemed like everyone in the hockey world thought they were going to get traded or moved this season, but they decided to commit. And I've heard a lot of rumors about Mark Scheifele being upset with management. It just seemed like he was going to leave, but he's committing. And they've done this without their best forward in Kyle Connor. He's been out for like half the season. But what's been really carrying them is their 5-on-5 play and their defense. They had a 24-game streak of allowing 2 goals or fewer per game. So, and that's helped them get to, first place in the league at some point. They're 3rd in points right now, but they're first place in win percentage. So, top team, they're looking like contenders, and their special teams haven't been great, but that kind of shows how good their 5-on-5 play has been. Some more underrated players that have been showing up, Nikolai Ehlers, he's kind of been that player that's been underutilized on the Jets because they've had a lot of depth, and it's just like, why isn't this guy getting more ice time? He's one of their best players. Give him more ice time. And surprise, surprise, when he has his opportunity, he does well. And they also have this young player, Cole Perfetti. He's 22, I believe, and he is having a really good season. He was like a 10th overall pick a while ago, and he's living up to that potential that they saw in him. And then this is apparently a year for Canadian teams because another surprise is the Vancouver Canucks.
When was the last time we had a Canadian championship?
1993.
I'm very surprised you knew that off the top of your head.
No, because my dad has a funny... Well, because the NHL media won't shut up about it. Oh, the Canadian team hasn't won the Cup since like the 93 or 94 season, something like that. And that was the Montreal Canadiens with Patrick Waugh. And my dad also said, oh yeah, the last time a Canadian team won a cup was when I left for the United States to work. So I'm like, oh, my dad just needs to move back to Canada and then they'll win a cup. So unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But who knows? This could be the year. But anyway, the Vancouver Canucks. Jeremy, you know that for the past however many years we've done this show, I've always been like, oh, the Vancouver Canucks, just you wait. When this team gets its stuff together, when they figure it out, they're going to be a really good team. And they always find a way to fall flat. Because, they've had Elias Pettersson, who had 100 points last season. Thatcher Demko has had flashes where he's looked like a Vezina caliber goalie. Quinn Hughes is one of the best offensive defensemen in the league. And they just could never stay consistent and make it to the playoffs. And then I gave up on them this year. I'm like, all right, they're not making playoffs. They're gonna sell at the deadline. Elias Pettersson's gone, JT Miller's gone, and then Quinn Hughes is going to be miserable. But something weird happened. They started winning, and then they kept winning, and they were consistent, and they had depth scoring. And now Vancouver Canucks were what they always thought it would be. They would be when I gave up on them. Because like everything's happening now. Thatcher Demko, he's staying healthy, and he's proven to be that number one goalie we have always thought he was. Quinn Hughes is the favorite right now for Defenseman of the Year. Elias Pettersson is going to get paid this offseason. We saw that William Nylander got $11.5 for 8 years. I think Pettersson could be arguing for a contract similar to that. And then, notable shout out to Brock Besser. Brock Besser was this guy who just seemed like he would get 30 goals every season like it would be nothing. But he just could never live up to that potential because it always seemed like he was hurt, he was injured, and then his father passed away in 2022. So God only knows what he was trying to get through dealing with the loss of his father. But this is the season where it seems like everything's to be going his way. He has 27 goals already, and we're only like halfway through the season. That he's 2 goals away from his career high of 29. So he's on pace for like a close to a 40-goal season, and it's great to finally see that he's putting up the numbers that I thought he would get ever since he came into the league as a rookie. Because he had a phenomenal rookie year. He could never seem to get it together to get above that.
Right, and you talk about a guy like Thatcher Demko. You talk about his inconsistencies in net. When he's on, and we had a discussion about this at the very beginning of the season, I believe. We were watching Canucks game. He's one of the best goalies in hockey, and you know how I am with goalies.
Yeah, if you have goaltending, you can have it all.
I love me some goalies, and watching him play when he's on is so much fun. He is one of those. You talk about different goaltending styles. You have the athletic goalies and the Vitek Vanaceks of the world that'll they're a brick wall.
Yeah.
They'll get in front of it. And Thatcher Demko is one of those athletic goalies that's so fun to watch. But it comes with drawbacks.
Yeah.
He's either the best or he's letting in an easy one. But when he's on, he's so fun to watch. And he's been on basically all season.
And he's been healthy, which is the huge thing. I just feel like he's had a ton of injuries. And now that he's finally healthy and playing a full season, you can see the potential he has to be a number one for years to come.
And it absolutely helps that, they've got a really good defensive core in front of him.
Yeah.
But he's just been so fun to watch. That's been my big takeaway. You talk about the Canucks, how they've been just on the edge of it.
Yeah.
And this is the season.
You saw the potential. You were like, it's there. They just need to be consistent, and that is a playoff team right there.
Because they've been going on runs at the end of the season every single year, and because just they're the last team to be eliminated every year.
Yeah,
and it's just
And then they had a really good start this year, and they're like, all right, how long is this actually going to last? And then they just keep on winning, and they're like, oh, this team's legit now.
But yeah, no. Vancouver, if this is the year that they finally put it all together, they could really make a lot of noise.
They just got to figure out how to pay Elias Pettersson after this year. He's going to get 8 by 11.5. If William Nylander got 8 by 11.5, Pettersson's going to be asking for that. And he could ask for 12, depending on how the season goes. Because the value of a first-line center of his caliber is through the roof. And the biggest surprise of this season, though. So if you told me a Pennsylvania team who wasn't in the playoffs last year is now a top 10 team in the league and is second in the Metro right now, I would have been like, oh, so the Pittsburgh Penguins got their stuff together. Nope, it's the Philadelphia Flyers. Jeremy, can you name me a player on the Philadelphia Flyers?
Carter Hart.
Can you name another player on the Philadelphia Flyers besides Carter Hart?
Connor Verhage. No, he's not on the Flyers.
My point exactly. And it's just like this team came out of nowhere. They had the 5th overall pick last year. They were the 26th worst team in the league last season in the standings. And right now they're sitting in the top 10 and solidly in a playoff spot. And I just thought, oh, they're rebuilding, they're floundering, or they have some mediocre players on their roster. But John Tortorella, you cannot underestimate the impact.
It's all about hard work
of a head coach on the team. He's got that team playing disciplined hockey, and he's got them to buy in. And I know I'm saying like the Flyers have like these mediocre players, but they still have some studs. Like Travis Konechny, he is almost point per game. He was an all-star last season. I forgot how good he was. Joel Farabee didn't have a great season last year, but he's really picked it up. And then I forgot this guy still existed, but Sean Couturier. He's been a finalist for the Selke Trophy for Best Defensive Forward. He was like injured for most of last season, and he's back and playing some really good hockey. And I think John Tortorella easily wins Coach of the Year, just for this dramatic change in this roster I didn't think was close to being a playoff team. And it's just, they're not dominating games, but they're finding ways to squeak them out, playing some gritty, disciplined hockey. Like, they're not taking dumb penalties, they're working their butts off, and they're just finding ways to win. And then honorable shout out to Owen Tibet. He was part of the Claude Giroux trade. He was this highly touted prospect who really couldn't get an opportunity in Florida because they're so deep on offense. But he's had a really good season. This guy can score goals. I don't know if you saw his highlight reel goal against Dallas a few nights ago. It was a spinorama, backhand top shelf. This guy just oozes talent.
Peter, you got that? Spinorama, backhand, top shelf?
Yeah. Definitely could try that on my first try.
So this is going to be a fun team to watch.
I'm just trying to figure out if you can even picture that.
I can't even spin in this.
Get half of it down. You got the spin part down.
Just got to figure out that Rama part. Ramen noodles, something like that.
So like, if they keep this up, they're going to be in the playoffs, and that's going to be a fun team to watch in the playoffs down the street because they got nothing to lose. Like, no one expected them to be here. There's like no pressure for them to do well. They'll be a fun team to watch.
Sorry, you caught me at a real bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Flyers, it's one of the most Flyer things for them to have done is to do this.
Yeah.
They were always that team that, you know, similar to what we were talking about with Baker Mayfield. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. And then they had 2 bad years in a row, and everyone was like, oh my god, are they finally done?
Yeah.
Nope.
I feel like the league is a better league when the Flyers are good. Because the era where the Metro had, you know, the Sidney Crosby, Ovechkin, Claude Giroux, and that division was just hell to get through. And they're just like, have a really passionate fan base. Because I feel like Philadelphia teams are good for sports because it's this fan base it's got a lot of character to it. They got a lot of character to it. They got really passionate fans. They can be a bit volatile and a bit like scumbaggy. It's just fun to have like that villain to root for, though. Like that rowdy fan base that like gets heated sometimes and that really cares about their team.
Yeah, no, Philly sports are something different. Philly sports are something that, you know, you have to kind of experience for yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always the NHL is something that's growing and it needs bigger fan base.
I'm just surprised, like seeing them like post hockey highlights on ESPN. It's like refreshing to see. I'm like, oh my god, ESPN actually cares about hockey now. Like it's a start. And the salary cap's finally going up, so the players can get paid a little more.
What are we looking at for mid-season award surprises?
Oh, Nathan McKinnon is going to win. He's front runner for the MVP right now, and that's only surprising because someone not named Connor McDavid is not the front runner for that award again. But Nathan McKinnon, he's kind of carrying the Avalanche right now because they just don't have a lot of depth scoring, and like only their star players are really performing. So at the deadline, they need to really find some pieces to help them out. But Nathan McKinnon, kind of a surprise right now. But other than that, everything's to be expected.
Yeah.
Connor Hellebuck's front runner for the Vezina. He's done it before. Quinn Hughes, knew he was going to be up there. And that's kind of it for the major rewards.
Yeah. But no, hockey is about mid-season, a little bit past that now, yeah?
Yeah.
So we're going to start to see playoff races really start to heat up just about in a week or so. So keep an eye out for that. Trade deadline is right around the corner, actually. So there's a lot that's going to be going on in hockey, and you can tune in every week here to the Triple Threat Show. We will keep you covered. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in this week. For our first episode back on air in studio, I've been your host, Jeremy Lapidus, joined as always by my two friends and co-hosts,
Shane Brisland
and
Peter.
like I said, thank you so much for tuning in. You can check us out every week here on YouTube at the Triple Threat Show on WXJM 88.7 FM or WXJM.org. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Sleeper's apparently importing